Hi there, Cosmic Family. My name is Jehlial. The moon is ending its passage through Virgo today, and tomorrow, October 19th, enters Libra, and we move forward towards the next event, which is the new moon of October 21st, the new moon in Libra. And one of the most important aspects that I mentioned in that video, in the video of that event, is the square with Pluto in Aquarius. Well, tomorrow you are going to understand, when I'm talking of the energies of the next week, that this is an aspect that we are going to feel the whole week. Even it is part of the next one because of the entrance of the sun in Scorpio. And the fact that this is activated still with the sun in Libra, in the astrological theory, in order for the sun to have a square with a Pluto in Aquarius, needs to be in Scorpio. In mathematical degrees, this is operating. So this indicates that there are situations linked with relationships, linked with, what we are giving and receiving in certain circumstances that could be removing deep shadows in us. And also, as the new moon is happening in this square with Jupiter in Cancer, yesterday I was saying this could amplify emotional states that could be manifesting in extremes, and that colors the perception of our reality. This is very important at the time that we need to make decisions, because perhaps we are not doing that from our center. So Pluto is a planet that shows us when we are being in a polarity, and basically every excess of energy in every area, in whatever area of our lives, is going to represent this imbalance. It is when we are focusing obsessively in a problem, and we just think about the problem, and that is not going to offer any solution, but the mind overthinks and analyzes, because that creates the illusion of control, and that we are doing something for the situation when truly we are losing our energy. That is very important to be aware of, and to remind us that we are not going to solve the thing that way. But well, coming back to the sun in this tension with Pluto, this also speaks of the great attachments and resistances, that people could be holding on to, not let go of something that is already dead. It is not even about letting situations die. It is truly this attachment to something that doesn't possess life anymore. Many times, squares with Pluto are showing that. And for not wanting to let go of, in order to not let go of, it could emerge these mechanisms as reminding how the relationship was in the past, the emotional or physical satisfaction that person brought in certain moments of our lives, without that being part of the present. And for this same resistance to let go of, people could annul other aspects of the person or dynamics that are not truly being nourishing for none of the parties. So what is sustaining the relationship in those cases? It is not the desire to share or transforming together dynamics. It is coming back to a place that once felt good. It is the attachment to the emotional satisfaction that the relationship produced. And we have to understand that in that initial phase where, people are connecting in relationships, when there is attraction, and people have the tendency to show the best part of themselves, even not allowing the other person to see other parts that could be less likable. This many times happens in an unconscious way. And well, the connection is being created, but that initial energy that could bring pleasure for many reasons, doesn't indicate that the connection, it is being emerging from this profound, I don't know right now, from these profound links. This doesn't indicate that the person or the people are going to be able to transform together. In some cases, it is. In others, the attraction responds to this fitting of limited patterns. This means that the other is going to reflect exactly what we need to learn and to integrate. And once we got to that point, the relationship is going to be dissolved. And well, there are other people that could also reflect shadows, because the shadow part could be also part of healthy relationships, but they are going to impulse, the potential to inspire us to be better people, to wanting to learn other people in purer and more elevated ways, even if there are challenges. And generating this kind of relationships requires a labor in ourselves. In first place, to recognize who truly is willing to do that kind of construction. Because if we are trying to run away from our pain, from our emptiness, from the feeling of loneliness, and we want to be rescued, if a person appears, is going to reflect everything that we were running from. And that is where the links of trauma are created. We are bonding from our patterns and wounds. And that is why there is attraction, because there is a familiar energy in the other. The other is representing dynamics that allowed us to survive, but it comes a point that they don't allow us to grow, and they don't allow us to find true plenitude, nor alone, nor with other person. For example, if someone was occupied the role in his or her family of being the one that sustains emotionally the others, the one that comprehends, the one that is attentive to the emotions of the others, because I don't know, the adults of his or her family had patterns and difficulties to create order, organization, and to not allow their children to be responsible for their own emotional burden. So this is an hypothetical example. This person could go after, through life, attracting partners that are super dependent, or they are taking care of other people and attending their emotional processes, leaving aside their own. And when the partner, is transformed in a son or a daughter, symbolically, there is a dimension of the desire between both that is going to turn off. In some other cases, could be something very inconsistent, chaotic and inconsistent relationships where there are peak moments of, the honeymoon, and then there comes the attachment, the control, the pain, the suffering. There is an addiction to chaos and drama, because probably that is what the person absorbed in great part of his or her experience. It is what the person knows. And what I wanted to transmit today is that this square invites us to look behind the masks of our identity, both, from the other people and ours. And in some cases, this is about stopping seeing the other as the enemy, as, projecting everything that is negative, and understanding which is the part of us that the other is reflecting. Our lack of healthy boundaries, the important projects that we have and that we are not attending, the inner dialogues that are causing us damage, because many times there is this pretension of being valued and appreciated, but we are not the ones that we can exercise that with ourselves or with other people too. So demanding something that we cannot integrate, it is not very coherent. In other cases, look behind the masks is also stop denying the imbalances of other people and justifying them, or even being responsible of what others are. It is like, this kind of justifications that he's not a bad person, or she's not a bad person, or she did that, I don't know, it was a mistake. But when there was a true attitude that caused so much damage, that really was hurtful, in super extreme cases we could talk about violence, or these kind of things. We don't necessarily need to get to that point, but the mind, in resistance to approach the process of death of the identity, could invent excuses. It could be in this mechanism of self-deceit. So seeing the other person as it is not demonizing, it is not hating. If there are acts that are representing lack of consideration towards the person that it is supposed to love, where there is lies, where there is no real change, stopping to justify and to wait that that change, can be produced, it is truly facing what it is, and not only about the other, also in oneself, because when there is this disposition to tolerate these kind of things in exchange of very little, only company, or for some people could be even a material attachment, which is the fear of losing, for the soul that is not nourishing, for the soul that is not growth. So that denial not only is going to bring pain because what the person is expecting is never accomplished, but also because the person is not doing that loving himself or herself, and it is closing to the possibility to inhabit love in a more elevated way, in a more mature way, connecting with peace and not with the distortion. It is closing itself to the opportunities, himself or herself. So this is the description. My English today is weird, but this is a description of the Plutonian relationships in its lowest vibrations. This also means that we can change the configuration of what makes us feel attracted to something that could cause damage, but that requires to deal with the things that were already hurting us, with our pain. This requires to go through the darkness, because the potential of creating a union in which we can reminding mutually of our power, of our capacity to transmute, of purifying, of being, of finding a strength in love, that is also Pluto, but it is a relationship where people are willing to look inwards with depth. So thank you, everyone. See you in the next video. Ciao, ciao.